All right, so we are working on the 1/4 ton 4x4 G503 MB utility truck, also known as a Jeep. But we're working on the Takom kit. We kind of took over for our buddy Luca. He was going gangbusters on this until some stuff had started going on, and he took his attention away from this little dude here, and he got all of this taken care of. These wheels, molded, the tires are molded in solid plastic. He painted them up with Tamiya's rubber black. I think that's XF85, and they look beautiful. They look amazing. The rest of the chassis is done up in XF 22. No, excuse me, XF58. That looks really good too. We've got the engine and transmission mocked in place here to see how it fits. He had most of the engine transmission already built, so that was really easy for us. We just added on a couple of small little bits here and there, but we're kind of going to take over this build from him and keep going with it and get it done for the Vegas show that's coming up at the end of August on the 27th. And I think right now we have, what's today? We have 20 days. We have 20 days to get this little guy done. And it's, I mean, usually when I build military vehicles, they're 1/35 scale. Not a problem. Can bang them out pretty quick, build wise and stuff. But this is an involved deal here. Look at all the sprue trees. Okay. The official kit will have photo etch and decals. Mine doesn't have that because this is one of the test shots. But yeah, this is quite the spread of parts. And the instructions are very nicely detailed. The only little hiccup that we're having right now is the fact that a lot of the parts, I think about 90% of the parts, didn't have part numbers. That's okay. I build AMT big rigs. How hard could it be? Well, it hasn't been that difficult at all because the part callouts on the instructions are very specific, and there's not a lot of stuff in here that's vaguely detailed or vaguely molded and stuff. Everything looks like it's supposed to look like. Now, this little jar here is of parts that I've clipped off the trees. I figured I might as well clip them off the trees. There's no part numbers anyways, type of thing. So I'll clip off the trees, and then they're in here waiting to be cleaned up. Get the little sprue nubs cleaned up off of them. This jar here, these are all small bits that have been cleaned up, along with the actual floor pan. And this is one piece. This whole thing is one piece. The shift levers and the gas pedal. And these little doodads right here, these little greebles right here, those are things I actually added on, but this whole thing is done in one piece. I find that awesome. That is really cool. The rest of the Jeep is going to actually literally build up like a Jeep, because look at this. We've got the front grille, and then we put in a radiator duct, and then from there we add on the little turn signal markers or marker lights. The rest of this pile of stuff here is all stuff that's been cleaned up already. Here's our firewall with a few little bits added to it. And there's a few other bits that are going to go in place, and we have to be able to get paint behind those, so we're stopping here. But I mean, look at this. That's actually an oil, one of those old oil cans. I can't think of what they would call it, but the oil dispenser, I guess. That is really slick. There's a couple other pretty slick things in this kit too that I'm like, oh my god, I've seen that in my grandfather's garage type of thing. But we're gonna dig through some parts here and see if I can find anything cool. Oh, the 50 cal. Oh my goodness. This looks like we could start jacking some rounds in there and just go into town. Glued that all up and put it together. It looks really good. I really like how that looks. So there's that. Got a really cool looking jerry can. This actually glues up in 1, 2, 3, 4. These little handles, that's a 4th piece, and then the actual cap. So it's a 5-piece build for just this little dude. I say little dude, but this is a 1/12 scale. So this is This is excuse me, 1/16 scale. This is a pretty good size. So here's the spare tire. It's a halvesies type of thing, and I think Matt got the paint on this really nice. So I mean on the chassis over there. But look at this, man. This is just sweet. Love it, love it, love it, love it. That's actually going to be the side facing out. Here is the back seat bottom. And if we were to fold it up, we would find that underneath there's a couple little lugs. Well, what goes underneath there is the starter crank handle. Because I guess these guys could have, you could turn them over with a crank if you had to, if the starter had died for some reason. The sides of the Jeeps, one giant piece here. I did add on the handrail there, and then on the inside I did add on this little pocket thing here. And then but you can see there's some ejector pin marks in here, but as it turns out, a lot of these are going to be hidden by how it goes onto the floor pan, and there are some bits and pieces that will glue in place that will actually cover a lot of the ejector pin marks. So that's pretty cool. But this is molded all in one piece also. Really nicely detailed. The rivets and screw and bolt heads are all nice and proud. You see this mark back here, this weird little mark? That's actually part of the handheld little handles that go back there. We have to cut the lugs off of there. But yeah, there's going to be that's where the handles seat in there. So there's one there, and then there's one on the tailgate. So right there, the corresponding one there. So that's pretty cool. This tailgate's pretty slick. It's got the taillights molded on there already, and then places for the reflectors to drop in. Place for the spare tire to mount, and the jerry can's going to mount on there also. And then you flip it around the inside, and it's got some detail on the inside as well. And you can see it's going to be really easy to mount that to the floor pan and match it up to the the Jeep sides, because they have this wrap around to the back side there. And look at this, they went ahead and just molded this reflector all in one piece, and there's a detent on the back side of that wall, back side of that side, that little curve, the little half moon area right there. That's going to receive this little dude here like a tab and help everything line up. So I'm like, dude, that is so cool. There is a fuel tank for underneath the driver's seat. Yep, that's how they used to do that back then. This glues up into two pieces also, which is two huge pieces, but they're nice. The seat frames, they look like lawn chairs. Mrs. BG is like, look at the lawn chairs. What's wrong with their legs? They don't have legs in the back. Well, there's a couple of pieces in some of the smaller bins to do the back side of these seats, but seat cushions, and that's nice. That's molded so nice. It's molded so nice. So these are molded separately, so we can paint them a different shade, which is perfect. There's the cowl, right? That's going to go. The instrument panel glues in right along this channel right here, and then the firewall glues in right along the front channel there. Easy peasy. Here's our hood. This is a slab. That is definitely a slab. I was taking care of some of the ejector pin marks underneath there. Got to do some more work on this little dude here. I think this is like a pocket where paperwork or something would have been stashed, you know, like a owner's manual or whatever. I'm not quite sure. I have to look it up. But yeah, here's the driver's side. And then it even has, you know, the little indentations here for the tools. And the tools, look at it. We have an axe and a shovel, or an entrenching tool, I should say. An axe and entrenching tool, and they are beautiful. So we'll get to those a little bit later on. But yeah, this is a huge kit. It's a big treat. I'm running out of bench space here. Let me pull back. It's taking up a lot of my bench space here. It's also taking up a lot of my time. But we want to get this done before the show in Vegas on August 27th. So. All right, so we're going to go ahead and post this video for right now, and then we'll get back to you a little bit later on. Oh yeah, one last thing. I was sharing this with my buddy, Mad Genius. I'm like, dude, you have to put in the spark plugs. How insane is that? All right, y'all. We'll talk to you a little bit later on. Bye.